Hey, James. Welcome to AFK Chat. We are back with what is this? Episode 3 now?
Episode 3.
Episode 3.
Yeah.
So we're moving along here.
We're about halfway
And
to some of our other podcast totals.
that is true. And we've got we also have some news out there. If you didn't haven't been paying attention, Halo is coming back. I think February 8th or 9th, we get the streaming again. So looking forward to that. We'll probably have a little segment in there and we'll kind of warn you before we talk about it so we don't
Yeah.
spoil anything because I'm sure it was one of the ones that I definitely wanted to keep watching throughout. I don't
I am disappointed in their official announcement the other day, maybe a couple weeks ago, about they did cancel a BR project.
well, good job, Microsoft. Like
I mean, it's the
we're
one
gonna get
that
into
I
Microsoft
really
here in a
wanted.
second. So what are you gonna do?
The
So
one that I really wanted.
the one that everybody wants. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the one that shall rule them all
Maybe
if
my
it
hope
ever
was is that
becomes made.
maybe that one project was canceled because it wasn't good and they're gonna start over. Who knows?
I don't know. I'm almost I actually was played a little bit of Infinite
The
a
fan
week
made one?
ago, the middle one, the family one.
The fan made BR or just
No, no,
Infinite?
no, 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 not the BR, just in back to Halo Infinite
Yeah, yeah.
anyway. It was fun. Like
Yeah, the
it's
gameplay
such a
rule I
great
mean,
shooter, but they just will not listen to the fans for that game, that studio. They need to get it out of that studio.
mhm.
343, it needs to go. It needs to get into somebody else's
But
hands to
okay, but
really.
let me just say this, if they made a battle royale, and then Phil Spencer and a few of them go over to play it and it's not good, they can't put it out just for the sake of having a battle royale, though,
I can't imagine it's not though. Like, how can you break that?
because someone's trying to innovate. It just needs to be PUBG and like, simple.
But no, you just take you literally you just add
Simple.
a shrinking bubble on a big map that they already have built, and you're done. Like it's so it would be
They
so
don't need to deal with armor, they've already
no,
got it
no,
your suit regenerates itself, so if
no,
you wanna run, you
nothing.
go,
The
like,
guns are already on the ground. Everybody's used to it. All the
that's
vehicles
what I'm
everyone
saying,
knows how to use.
maybe you got someone in there trying to innovate and
You,
trying to be
you don't need
complicated,
to.
like, we need
You don't need to.
detachments. That's why I think they're the one that could be so
Yep.
simple.
If you build something simple, they will come.
He will
Let's
come.
field of dreams
He
this.
will come, that's what I heard the other day.
Yeah, well, yes, it is.
The
It is. He
Mandela
will come.
effect, everyone thinks it's they will come.
No, it's not. It's he will come because he came first and he brought
Yeah,
them with
but,
him.
listen, I heard that on a TikTok or YouTube short or something the other day, and they were like, "It's he will come," and I was like, "No, it's not." He
Yes, it
goes,
is.
"It's the Mandela effect, look it up," and I was like, "Alright, little smart ass, I'm gonna look it up," and I was like,
Yeah.
"Damn, it is he will
Oh
come."
yeah, it's always been that because if you go back and watch the movie, his father comes first,
Yeah,
and then he asks him if they can play, and he has others that want to come and join. So that's the whole thing. Anyway, got a little off topic there, but it was kind of on topic because the first thing we're gonna get into is another one of the big five is laying people off. And this
that's
time it's Microsoft, Activision, Blizzard. A lot of people lost jobs. There was a percentage that they said, I think it was 22,000 people lost their jobs. It was 1,900 roles that they got rid of for 2,200 people at Activision Blizzard. And it hit all of them, mostly Activision
mhm.
and well, the Activision Blizzard. Um, So there were some announcements that we had. I think we found out through the internal memo. I don't even know why they say internal memos. They're going to get out to the public immediately once they send. So can't you just like I want a title just to say like external memo that I know you're going to send to whoever
Oh my god, it would be
newspaper
you might as well
organization
just
you want.
I'm sure there's some sort of rule that they could then turn their pandering or whatever, so they're antagonizing the staff so they could get in trouble. Who
I'm
knows?
sure, but I mean, like these internal memos aren't internal. They're always out. So, one from Phil Spencer, and then the Mike Ibarra one was not internal. That was a tweet that he sent out that was out there. But I'm not going to read this to everybody. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see that we have it up here for what he says, but mainly around um, areas of overlap. And I think that's been a common thread with all of these big tech companies that have been laying people off. We had the COVID boom for tech.
Yeah, and they panicked and they thought everyone could work from home and they overhired.
Well, I think it's a little more complicated than that because I think the demand became that high. So everyone was at home with nothing to do. So all these companies were like, "Oh, we have things for you to do. Let's hire in our entertainment areas and all these places. And we need more people because we need to
Mm.
push all of these things out. We need to maintain more. Our servers are getting destroyed. Like we need more maintenance staff. We need more all of this stuff." And then all of a sudden, kind of like the COVID effect is over. People went back to their jobs, and I have 17 of one position when I really only need 5.
Yeah, now obviously when the acquisition happens and they said we were going to try not to lay people off. I mean, I don't know what the percentage is. 1,900 people is still a lot, but out of 22,000 people, I mean, it still sucks, and I'm very very sorry for
No,
everyone
no, no,
who
it's
lost their job.
1,900 roles. So that's like the individual role. Like you are this
Oh,
in
so
the
they could be
company.
multiple people.
It's 22,000 people that got laid off as a
It says
total.
1,900 roles out of the 22,000
Yeah,
people on our team.
it's crazy.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't. It still sucks, but how many of those roles, like you say, when Activision takes them over, how many people in Xbox gaming division, Microsoft overall, that role already exists? People are already doing those jobs, so they're just absolving. They're going to just take this as part of their job, right? So that's probably part of it.
Yeah, I think that has to
I
be
think
part of it. I
it
also think we
sucks.
have to go back
Billions of
to.
dollars, billions and billions of dollars, and look how many people you're affecting their livelihood, their families. I mean, I've got a stepdaughter that's in game art at Ringling College right now, and she's they are phenomenal. They are phenomenal artists. They're really taking to this. They're good. They're a freshman, but and my wife's not all up on the gaming news like we are. But every time there's these big layoffs, I'm like, man, what a terrifying field to be going in. Like, it terrifies me for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you get these, especially with acquisitions, and I didn't believe them when they said we were not going to lay everybody off when
Of
it
course,
first
yeah.
happened because there's no there's no real way that you can do that um and not have the overlap that they're talking about. But I also think part of this that may not have been in there, and this is just me speculating, so it's my own speculation here, is around culture. So we know Activision Blizzard was in the news like crazy last year with all the culture issues that they had and all the people coming in, and it's not like they don't know who they are.
Yeah.
It's not like they didn't sit down and talk to their HR department or like, okay, we have, you know, Bob and Steve here, but Bob had 17 HR violations last year and Steve didn't. This could also be cleaning the house at the same time that they're trying to do here because they don't want those issues that they had before. They don't want the all
Yeah.
boys club that they had that was known. I mean,
And I will
they said it was a
say
frat house the
on
whole time.
on the I don't know if it has anything to do with that. I haven't heard any leaks that this could be, but on the rare chance that it is that, I give a big bravo to Phil Spencer and Microsoft by eliminating the jobs and making it seem like any old elimination that's been happening over the last couple of years versus singling them out to where it could ruin any future potential they have if they correct their behavior. You don't want to ruin their entire life.
Sure. And then that's what I'm saying. Like I don't I don't think they went into this saying, "Hey, we're going to do this for the clean of the house," but I think it's a byproduct of when you're determining who stays and who goes. Like you got to look at it at perform. Like you're not getting rid of your top performers. You're not getting rid of all that. So they have to sit there, and from the time of the acquisition until now, my guess is they've been trying to figure this out on who they're going to let go
Oh, I'm
and
sure
minimize
that
it to
the
the
entire
smallest
time.
amount that they could.
Yeah.
1,900 is not a small amount, but it could it have been 2,000, 3,000, 4,000? Could it have been everybody? Like at the end of the day, like just say, you know what, we're gonna wipe you all out and we're gonna rehire the whole thing. Like some acquisitions that happens. They just say the old guard goes away. Here's your severance. Walk away.
Yeah. Now
That
we
could
all
have
knew that
happened.
Bobby Kotick was gone as soon as the acquisition happened. He was staying on just for the takeover, and that was pretty much determined during over the last couple of years. We knew that this was inevitable. But a big red flag, one of the tweets that you had up there that is now
Yeah.
gone, Mikey Barra. I did not
Yeah.
see that coming.
Um,
Do
this
you
is a
think this
hit
is
to the Blizzard family, I
do you
think.
think this is a forced out? Do you think he wanted out? Do you think he didn't want to go back to Microsoft? I know we were talking before a little bit of his history you brought up.
Yeah, I mean, he was the original, one of the original guy. I mean, he ran Blizzard. He he was running the company and doing the art design and like literally working 15, 16, 17-hour days, 7 days a week to launch World of Warcraft. It was him. And then it launches and he leaves and he gets hired by Microsoft, I believe. And then he stays there for a really long time and comes back to Blizzard. And I just don't think he wanted to do the stint again. Like I think he was done. I don't think it was a forced out. I think somebody like he's never been in the limelight anywhere of saying like, hey, you're doing the bad things, or you're part of this. Now I don't know. Again, I don't know what the behind the scenes doors are. I don't know what any of that thing is, but he's always seemed like a stand-up guy. He loves the product. He loves the games. He spent 20 years or 20 plus years with Microsoft already. I
Yeah.
don't think you want to go back to that. Like, no offense, it's like large corporations. Do I really want to be back in the corporate world, or am I okay with, not that Blizzard was a small studio, but it's not Microsoft. Like, it's not the corporate world that they're living in today. So I think he made the decision to leave. I think it's a big blow to the World of Warcraft family. He's been around for a while. He's at all the events. People know him.
I mean, it was just
So we'll see
interesting
what's
for
gonna come. We'll see
you know
what
what,
comes.
I will say this, I was excited about Mike Ybarra coming back because on the Bethesda side, of course, you've got Todd Howard and their executive team. It's very, very well known, very well respected. And then on the Activision Blizzard side, of course, Kotick, and we only know who he is because of all the antics, but everyone that was a gamer and diehard gamer had Ibarra. So if you're looking at the Xbox family, you've got Phil Spencer kind of running everything. And then you've got Mike Ibarra and Todd Howard, two of the biggest pillars that you could have, and now they've just lost one. And
Yeah.
it does make you wonder, you know, who's going to be that person that steps forward.
Yeah, I don't know. I think time will tell. But again, my hearts go out to everyone that lost their jobs there. It's not an easy world. It's not, it's not, you're not just gonna go find a job tomorrow in these worlds. It's not a, run of the mill walk down to the next superstore and I can get another job. It doesn't work that way, especially in this economy right now.
Yeah.
Um, this economy living in California. I mean, things aren't cheap where I live. I can't imagine what it costs in California to be
Oh,
doing
it's
stuff there.
astronomical. Yeah, I lived there for a
Um,
while. It's awful.
so I feel for them. I do like that, Mike Ibarra then put out there, any recommendations or connections or anything I can help with to get you into other places. He's going to. But I also think that there's a bunch of talent out there for indie studios. And no offense, like I'm not saying anything bad towards this, but sometimes these layoffs spawn the next startup company that gives us the next amazing thing because they've got to do it and it gives them a reason to start their own design studio. Like I
Yeah.
might as well now, who knows? I take the severance package, put it all back in to my own stuff and let's get 3 or 4 guys together to build the next indie game that becomes who knows what.
I
You're
mean, we
talking
we learn time and time again, a game comes out of nowhere and takes over the space and blows up. I mean, there's
and
one
it's
right now
normally it's
sitting
normally
right here.
because somebody's not watching or paying attention, which I'm gonna use that as the segue into
Yeah, it was a perfect segue, really.
our next topic here. And yes, there is no audio if you're watching on YouTube. I tried to want to get copyright striked here, but We are talking about
This is the new Pokemon game coming
the
out
new
this
don't
year,
say
right?
that. Don't say that.
I think that's
Don't
what
get us
this
in
is.
trouble now. This
I
is
mean, this is gonna be
Palworld. It is not a
fantastic. I can't wait
Pokemon
to
game.
explore. You get to play as Ash. I mean, it's amazing.
We're gonna get banned already from talking like that. Nintendo goes after the little guys. They're known to go after
They can't
anybody.
go after the big guys.
They can't go after the big guys. They went after um
Nintendo's
James,
like the
what's
Japanese
Palworld
Disney.
here? What is Palworld? Where did it come from?
Listen,
How did it
Palworld is
start?
awesome. Palworld is amazing. You know, it's funny they got mocked, right? So must have been a year or so ago. I remember we were still probably parents versus gaming. I bet if we looked up an old parents versus gaming, we would find a reaction video where they showed this, and we were like, "This is a Pokemon game, but it's not Pokemon game." And the studio's been around for a while. Eh,
Pocket size, I think.
Pocket Pair,
Pocket
Pocket Pair
Pair, yeah.
Studios, I think. So I mean Pocket Pair, Pocket Size. I'm sorry if I'm getting it wrong. I don't
Yeah.
remember off the top of my head, but they put out this trailer and everyone just kind of disregarded it. No one was like, a couple people made jokes. I'm sure Jake, whatever his name is, was out. Jake, whatever he was probably making a joke about it. I'm sure Doc laughed about it on a reaction. But years go by, and all of a sudden this gets announced. Hey, it's coming out, early access. And at first I was like, okay, this is definitely one of those games. You saw from this all the streamers, some of the well known, some of the not well known, but everyone gets on board. Everyone's putting out content. And I was like, all right, this is probably just one of those games, good flash in the pan, gonna come and go. But it has not been that yet, Ender, because the Steam sales, they were like, oh, it sold 1 million. Oh, it sold
Eh,
2 million. Oh, it sold 3 million. I mean, as of recording today, I think it's close to 7 or 8 million sold on Steam.
it's 8 million. Last I looked, it was 8 million,
And
and
this
that's
game has
just
been out
Steam, and it's
maybe a
on
week
Game
and a
Pass.
half, right? How long has it been out?
It was 1 week to 8 million. That's what I
1
had
week
written
to 8
down.
million. To me, that
Yeah.
is I think that's more than what the Pokemon game sold,
No,
which
no, I'm sorry. 8 million Pal Tamers on Steam in
we're
less
just talking
than
about
6
Steam.
days.
Yeah.
Less than 6 days, not
So
even
that
a
is
week.
people that now I do want to preface this. This is a $70 game, right? So this is I think it's what, 29.99, maybe 34.99, but you get your little Steam early access discount.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, this is also on Game Pass. Now I know that PC Game Pass and Xbox Game Pass and X, we'll talk about that in a bit. But those numbers and those users haven't come out. But man, what a steal for a console exclusive at the right time. Now, listen, I know that the version on there is a little bit behind, but if you're just trying to get a feel for the game, see if you like it, and you already have Game Pass, try. But man, what an absolute steal by Microsoft to have this come out of the gate. They had an amazing developer direct. I think this game launched the day before or the day after developer direct,
The day
and
after.
they've set themselves. I mean,
And we were talking about, I
what?
remember we talked that week of our developer direct was, we were like, we didn't have that hit game. We didn't
Yeah.
have that one that was coming out.
Imagine
Why
if they
wasn't
would have
that in
just
developers
yeah,
direct?
because I don't think anyone thought that it would take off. I
I also
really
don't think they wanted to throw a
don't.
bunch of possible
Yeah, I don't
lawsuit
think anyone
issue
wants
things
to put
that
their
we'll talk about in a
put
little
it
bit.
out
But
there, but the game, what makes I'm gonna stop talking for a little bit because I have so much I want to break down in this game. But what's going to be interesting is when we get numbers about how many people have been playing it on Game Pass, because they like to boast that number. And man, what just an again, I can't say this enough. What an absolute
so
it
I
really
haven't
comes down to,
played it.
it's not even an Xbox exclusive. The reason it became on Game Pass is because PlayStation doesn't allow early access games.
Yeah.
That's the only reason.
I mean, so I haven't played it. So by all means, go for it. I have only watched a very little bit of people play it. I have talked to a bunch of friends that are like diving ridiculously deep into it. But when you say it's like, and I think people are getting it wrong. Like, they're saying it's Pokemon with guns.
Oh, it's so much more than that. I
But
mean,
it's actually not anything like a Pokemon game. It's a survival game
correct.
at the end of the day.
Okay, so let's bring this point up because the only thing that makes it like Pokemon is that they've got Pokeballs, which I think they call Pal Spheres, and then you capture them. And you can do this, you can send out your pal to fight the other pal to wear it down, then you can throw a sphere on them and capture them. But you
Or
can
you can
also
shoot
go
him with
out
a
there
gun.
and beat the shit out of it with your hands or a club if you want, or build your way up. I have not unlocked a gun yet. I've got the crossbow. It's as far as I've got into it. But here's what makes the game appealing. You're not just going out exploring. Then you go back and you have your survival crafting game. And we all know the survival crafting genre can live and die just by those basic concepts right there. There are games you and I have played that we dive into it and the crafting and the survival. Like Daisy is a great example. I kind of like Daisy, but to get into the crafting and survival part of it, it's so complicated. It's over the top. It's just it. And for those that love Daisy, great. That's your niche. That's what you like to do. Same with Rust. For me, Rust is just a little too with it.
Yeah, but then one that came
Somebody
out
enjoyed
that did
it.
it perfectly was Sons of the Forest.
The
Like,
Forest and
that
Sons of the
system was
Forest, I think
amazing.
is does, but this game nails it. And I'll tell you what, the comparison is a lot of people bring up Ark, but I think it's more like Conan. Now, Conan isn't as popular, but the way that the concept of Conan, if you just replaced all the villains in Conan with Conan Exiles with these pals,
Pals.
it's the same thing. You go out, you get some people because then you can turn around and take these pals and you can assign them to jobs. So, I mean, the coolest thing about Sons of the Forest was that idiot AI guy that we were all excited about
Oh,
getting.
he was amazing.
I can't even remember his name. That's how memorable he was. But you'd
You
send him out.
remember him when he's sitting in your fire and he's
Yeah,
dying,
he
and he's
kill
not bringing
himself.
stuff where you wanted to.
He could build things, and you could go get wood, but he'd go get wood. He get one log at a time. So you get all
Yeah.
these pals instead of just having one pal helping you. You can set up to build something, and all your pals will build it for you. Or and then basically, so the most annoying thing is that I needed to get food, so I was like, oh, I can make this garden. So I made this garden ender, and then as I'm making the garden, I've got to realize, okay, I've got to seed it myself. And then I was like, oh god, now I gotta water it, so I gotta get some water. But then I realized I had randomly picked up a pal. It was this little elephant. So then I was
You
seeding
can
it,
water it.
and while I walked away to go do something else, I come back and this elephant's over there just watering the thing, and I was like,
You didn't even have to tell him to. He just did it.
no, no, he just assigned himself to it because they didn't have anything else that fit his. Because each pal has different tasks that they're good at. So then I was like, well, this is amazing. Oh, this is how this works. So because this is one of the first things I built, right? So then I went out and I was like, I wonder if I find like I don't know the elements, but I'm relating it to Pokemon with the earth and
Yeah.
the fire and the water and all that. So I was like, what if I find something that looks like it'd be earth like? So I find this little like Diglett looking character. We'll talk about that here in a bit. But and sure enough, he seeds it. And then I got this chicken thing, and then he harvested it. And I was like, so now, and then I built a food pantry. So now this entire process
It's
is run by
automated.
them. It's all automated. I don't have to do anything. And so my camp constantly has food nonstop. And then you realize that you can set up a logging one. You can set up to get, everyone you need
Well,
a
it's full
million logs, a
construction. Like,
million
I was
logs.
seeing, like, these guys had
Yeah.
conveyor
You
belts,
you
and
yeah, you
so
apparently you can go on full on and you can
so
just put
you land on this island. So from what
yeah,
I understand is you just land on this island, and then you enslave the inhabitants to
yeah,
do the work that you need them to do on this island. I mean, it sounds like a wonderful game with these nice little
yeah.
creatures that you're doing it that
I mean,
bounce up
it
and down
sounds
that are fun. Like,
when you say
and
it like that, it's
you couldn't do it with people, so you just do it with pals,
well,
and
you
now that's not
say
a
that, but
problem.
here's the funny thing. You can capture the people.
Oh, even better.
You can if you run into a trader or another pal person, uh, you can throw a ball on them, a sphere as they call them, and if you wear them down enough, you capture them, then you can take them back to your camp and they'll be in your camp working.
So basically, you're just enslaving this
Yeah,
entire
it's
world.
basically a
That's what you're
Christopher
trying to do.
Columbus. It's a Christopher Columbus simulator. Let's just it sounds awful, but I mean the way you just broke that
No, I'm
down,
just
that's all I could
I'm
think
just
of.
saying, like, I'm looking at this from the point of view of, like, you have Pokemon who's around, like, training, and we're gonna battle, and we're at school, and we're training this, but and that's where I'm trying to separate them, because, like, Pokemon is a kid's game.
Yeah.
This is the adult that grew up on Pokemon's game they always wanted.
Yeah.
Like I haven't played it yet, but the more I watch it, I'm like, okay, this is gonna be fun.
No, it really is.
This is
It
gonna be
really
the
is.
Pokemon game we always
And
now.
and that's how you know it's not just a bunch of streamers pushing, Raid Shadow Legends. Come click on my
Yeah,
link, like, because
get to level
people
10 and you'll get a free thing.
people will
Thank
s
you.
and people will stop buying it, and the fact that they keep buying it every day, someone's buying, and then I'm sure people from Game Pass are like, "Oh, the Steam version is got a more updated version, it's more stable, so I'm already
So
playing
let's
on
talk
PC,
about
so wait
that.
till
Like
November."
I don't understand that. Like
I think it's the processing. It's the process of updating your stuff. The verification process on Xbox just takes longer.
but it
So
seems like
On
I've
Steam, that's why
never
Steam has a lot of weird games. You can just openly now
yeah, but I've
when
never
it
seen when
launches
there's
as
2
a
games on this.
non-early access game, that will change.
Okay, so they have come out and said that we will match version
They
sets
will eventually, yeah,
because
they will
what I
eventually match.
read, what I read in the other article that I read was if you are playing it on Game Pass, you're not getting the full experience.
You're not,
Like
no.
it's a very different feeling game.
But it's not ridiculously different. I know IGN just did a review. They gave it an 8 out of 10 for the Steam version. Travis Northrop, I think, is the guy that was reviewing it. He They joked because he goes, I'm gonna review. He's like, I'm about to give it a score on Game Pass, but he's in this weird position. He point blank said, I think it should be 7, but then he's like, but I don't want to be the generic IGN gives everything a 7 because it's better than that. He's like, I feel stuck on how to score it properly because it
Because of the
is
2
better
versions.
than the
Well, but
stereotype.
I think maybe that's where IGN has to look at it and just be like, "Look, we're only going to do the Steam version because it's the most up to date." Like that, I can do a true review of the game in its most up to date version
Well,
that
and
it
that's
is.
because they're trying to avoid the conversation of everyone talking about the Xbox tax. Oh, Xbox
Yeah,
just doesn't get a good version. Oh, Xbox. No, it's just the verification process, right? It's an early access game, so they're constantly pushing out updates. Well, Steam's basically open. I mean, look at the
yeah,
games on the top thing.
yeah.
It's always these
Steam, you never know what you're
adult
gonna get.
games, right? So you can just constantly push out, now if something's ridiculous, and Valve will obviously come back and course correct, but they don't stop them from constantly pushing out updates. Where on
Well,
Xbox, it's got to
it's,
go
it,
because it's on console too, right? So it's got to
I
go
think
through the
I
verification
think for
process
most people, like the example of that would be getting your app on the Apple Store takes a whole lot longer than putting it on Google Play.
on Google Play. Correct.
Like you have open source and then you have closed source. Like Steam is like
Yeah.
open source, let everybody come in. We have our checks to make sure it's not going to harm anything.
Yeah.
It's not way over the top that it breaks any of our terms of service, but we'll let you launch the game and modify it as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Even technically unstable builds. Like
Yeah.
it's gonna crash. Like we're that's fine. That's what we're here for. We're open
And
source.
now
We're
I will
gaming.
say this:
It's designed for indie developers.
if you're a casual gamer and you've only got a handful of hours throughout the day or throughout the week, and you don't want to buy it yet, and you already have Game Pass, the game is fine. It runs fine. That's all I've played it on, and
Now,
I've loved.
do your pals work for you while the game's off?
I don't think so
Okay, so there's
because
only
my
they're only enslaved when you're
yeah.
actually
I
in the
haven't
game.
played enough to pay attention to that, but I don't think so. But the only reason if you were to go from Game Pass and you really want it on Steam is because you're a die-hard person that's going to put 50 hours and 3 days into it. Then yes, have the most up to date because you're going to want the most content that you can possibly
But
get.
this is also, and I didn't mean to cut you off there, but I think that this is where again this game starts to rise above other of the Pokemon. Let's face it, the last grouping of Pokemon games that have come out have sucked. They haven't been that good
Yeah,
compared to like when we were playing Violet and all the original ones, like when they came out, like that was like a revolutionary
because
thing that they were
they don't
doing.
take chances and they don't
No,
innovate. Now, if
no,
you're a
nothing's
Pokemon
changed.
fan, here's what cracks me up. If you're a Pokemon fan and you're hating on this, you're the Pokemon defender, which is crazy to me. You should be looking at this like maybe Nintendo and Pokemon Company will look at this and think, oh, we can take some chances. This is kind of what people want. Yeah, I mean, you're probably not going to get guns to mow Pokemon down, but there are a lot
But
of
you didn't need
things.
it. You
I
didn't
mean,
need it.
think about that. This is, and we
Just
can
the
jump into.
survival piece of
I
it.
know you have something from Nintendo here in a second, but this is my perfect Pokemon game. I want to be almost MMO style, not quite fantasy, Final Fantasy Online or anything like that, but even if it's single player, but I want to be able to role play as my version of Ash. I can continue as a Pokemon trainer, or I could join Team Rocket. I could go to a gym. I could become the gym leader if I want and wait for people to roll
Yeah.
through and challenge me. Like I want a role playing Pokemon game.
Well, I think
Todd
that's
Howard,
I think
Todd
that's what you
Howard,
said. It's
listen,
like
Todd Howard,
the
here's what you need to do. You need to somehow get involved with your genius ideas and your RPG with a company that has a better game engine. And then if you take your ideas with a great game engine and a great IP, how great that is the dream. I want to live in Ash's world and choose the
but I
role
think
I
you
want to
hit
play.
like where I was going to go with this is that this game gets better from what I've heard as you add more people to the server. So it's a co-op multiplayer game. So I
Yeah,
can join
and
your
they're gonna add
world.
battles and stuff too soon. They're gonna have,
Yeah.
you
So
know,
I can join
gym
your world and
battles and all that.
we can build and find stuff and do that. We could be on different teams. But this is what I thought was really interesting. On Xbox, again, we're on an older build. So you can have 4 people per server that they have there. So you have your world. It's 32 people per
Oh
server on
wow.
Steam. So you can have 32 people in this world that you have. Now, all those 32 people aren't getting along and going to be doing the same thing. So now you're going to have everyone out there trying to find these pals, making their own, exactly what you just said is what's going to happen with this game where you say you're going to be able to load up with 32 different people that are in there. It's going to be all of the games we're trying to find. Dead Side. Name all the ones that we've gone through, and we're just like, oh, there's just not enough people playing. They have 8 million
And you know what?
that are playing now. There's going to be
I've been
enough
really
to
thinking
make
about
this
this,
work.
right? So I've really been thinking about this. I think that the reason that they hit 8 million, there's nothing out right now. Perfect timing. And it
Yeah.
comes on the heels of I think two very key moments that happened in gaming this year and as the year ended last year. And then coming on the heels of these two moments, I'm gonna say to you, and you let me know what you think. The gaming community was kind of all over the place. We're all looking for something. Call of Duty's got its diehard people, but the people that float through the games, that's a big chunk of
Casual
people,
gamers.
right? The Destiny is kind of all over the place. Bungie's a mess right now. Call of Duty Activision is kind of a mess right now. Fortnite brought a lot of people back. Casual
OG.
OG
OG brought a
Fortnite
lot of people back.
brought this community together where you started seeing some of your old streamers that you liked maybe 5-6 years ago, even before the pandemic. You're like, oh, these guys are still going. Let me check. You and I have been watching some people we haven't watched in a long time, not just
Yeah.
besides aside from Doc and Tim. And then Fortnite did this thing with the racing. And then in the middle of all this, the day before comes out, and everyone like it was horrible.
Well,
What a
the racing in
what a
The Lego
I'm getting
Fortnite
there, I'm
came
getting
out.
there, I'm getting there. So this day before it comes out, and just what an atrocity this thing decides to be. Steam crushes it with doing what I consider one of the greatest things I've ever seen a company like that do, where they just that's what I found out. I didn't realize that Steam keeps all the money for 30 days from a company in case something like this were to happen. So they
Yep.
don't have to check with the people to get the money back. They still have the money. They haven't given it to the other company yet. So they
Yeah.
just
Mhm.
automatically refunded whether you asked for it or not. Everyone that bought the game on Steam. But the community was just kind of
Well,
like,
there's no company to give it to.
the community is just kind of
They
like,
went
oh, I
bankrupt.
just want something. And then Lego Fortnite finally hit. And it was like this, like, it's like Minecraft, but kind of easier. But in Fortnite, I can take my Fortnite characters and they look like Lego. And it was just fun. And so many people were just having fun, but it doesn't have that like
Competitive edge. There was no
thing.
it's
There's no
once
thing.
I figured it out, I figured it out.
Yeah. Once you've done it, it's just growing it bigger and bigger and
Like
bigger and
like
bigger.
even with Minecraft, they continued to add content super
Correct. Yeah.
fast to it, and there's
But
battles
again,
and
Lego Fortnite, like I can't wait till my son Parker's a little bit older because that's going to be something I'll jump into with him. Like he'll have a blast. But then right on the heels of that ender, nothing is out. Developer Direct comes
oh,
out. People are kind of getting excited. And the next day, Palworld comes and it takes Lego Fortnite. And you just talked about it, the elements that were kind of in some of these survival games that we want and put it in Pokemon world essentially.
they didn't do that.
I mean, they didn't, but you know what I mean. Like in our heads, it's like that. And then
Well, I
so
think when
what's
you see
funny is that
cute little characters that have
you
abilities,
want
you
to
say
play it,
Pokemon.
you want to try it because
Honestly, they stole Tamagotchi.
yeah,
Okay,
you
Pokemon
want
just stole Tamagotchi. Let's talk. Let's go back.
you want to try it because of the way it looks. So you try it, and then you realize, wait, this game has some depth to it. There's
Yeah.
more to this game than just what I thought it was. And then you realize, good lord, 7 hours have passed. What am I doing with my life? Like, why
Why?
is this so
And why
fun?
does this monkey have an AK?
Yeah.
What is going on?
The fact that the game is just genuinely fun, and for the most part, for an early access game, it works. It's got some jank here and there. It doesn't have an official in game yet, but
Okay.
all the
With
pieces.
all that being said, you're Nintendo. You have this somewhat clone of a game, clone of characters, clone of whatever you want to say. And I air quote that for those that aren't watching, I'm making
Yeah,
quotes. Just sold 8 million pre-order copies
and keep in
in
mind, this is a company
6
that does not speak.
days.
They
No,
do not care about the consumer. They don't put out statements ever.
no. What are you supposed to do? You can't not say anything.
But they
You can't
never say
react to
anything.
it.
So why did they? I know you're going to bring it up here in a second
Well, let's get into what is going
because
on. So
there's a lot of clones.
so
Ocean Horn,
there's a
big
lot of
one.
clones, and they
It's a Zelda
attack the
clone.
clones. They
I
attack the
mean, there's a
clones.
lot of Zelda clones, and I mean, you can essentially say every platformer is Mario reskinned.
So you want to know why I think they had to say something?
I think it's because their fans are driving them damn nuts.
Exactly.
Oh, that
The
you think the
only
same thing.
reason they put something out is because they're every person that's like, and I'm making fun of myself here too, that sits in their basement reading video game news and has something to say about it. Do you think the multi-million-dollar organization of Nintendo didn't know? Like everyone's writing them all these emails. It's like, hey, Nintendo, they're copyright infringing you. Did you know this? Did you know? Hey, you guys should do something. Did you think? Tap on the door, knock on the door, tell them that they're doing this. I don't think they know.
How many people do you think have gone to their headquarters to try to file
Oh
formal
my
complaint?
god, they have to be. They're there. Like, you know what I really hope that these that this Pocket Pair does next is turn this into Pocket Pal Go. Like, please tell me Pal Go is right behind this game. Like, it has to be. Sorry, moving off of that. But do you like the only reason Nintendo responded because they do their litigation backdoor style? Like we're talking like Japanese mafia
Yeah,
style background, shut you
but
down, talk to the boss, kiss the ring, and move on kind of deal. But the amount of people screaming for a lawsuit. Look, my son just got into Pokemon. Like has every card possible, is watching the shows. It's wonderful. Am I going to let him play Palworld? No. No, I'm not going to let him give a monkey an AK. No, I'm not going to let him do all those other stuffs. But it for the 37-year-old me that also grew up on that game, it allows me to have a new experience
yeah.
that Nintendo won't do. Dude, I'm still looking for new experiences in Mario. Like, give me something new. And they kind of go out in the bounds, kind of, but they won't leave their comfort zone.
So I
And
know you got some comparisons here.
you allowed for these guys to walk in and do that. But there is a gripe here. These things do look somewhat
Okay,
similar.
but my guess is, and as you bring this
So
up,
I'm gonna bring this up.
I want to point this out. Okay, so my guess is that when the trailer hit, however long ago it was, there's no way, like you said, Nintendo's not dumb and blind. Like
No, they
I'm
knew this was
sure
coming.
that they already
They
looked
knew this
into it.
has been
If
in
they could
development
have
for a
stopped
while.
it or they could have sued them, I imagine it would have been done before the game came out.
So here I want to read this because this is what I'm getting to on how this was written. So, and again, this is from the Pokemon Company on their Nintendo site. So they didn't release this. I don't believe they released it on Twitter. They don't respond that way. They do it all on their site.
Yeah.
And we have received many inquiries regarding another company's game released January
I
2024.
love how they won't
So
even name them.
they're not going to name them.
Of course,
And the
because
other
everyone is
part is like
advertising, right? But
just this first line, how many people have called them? They're like, we are aware. We heard your
you think people are
inquiries.
still calling that old Nintendo line?
Yeah. Oh,
The
yeah,
old school
absolutely.
number?
We have not granted any permission of the use of Pokemon intellectual property or assets in the game. We intend to investigate and take appropriate measures to address any acts that infringe on intellectual property rights related to the Pokemon. We will continue to cherish and nurture each and every
I
Pokemon
love that they say
and its
nurture.
world and work to bring the world together through Pokemon in the future. The Pokemon Company. Okay. So if you break this apart, it is like, first off, please stop calling us. We know it's happening and we're looking into
Yeah,
it. That's like
leave
the
us
first two
alone.
lines are for everybody else. We did not tell them they could do it. We don't support this game. We do not believe in it. The second line is kind of like walking into the mob. And I keep thinking of it this way of like, we're not going to tell you what swimming with the fishes is, but it's kind of a threat. We intend to investigate and take appropriate measures, and we continue to cherish and nurture each and every
Nurture.
Pokemon.
Yeah.
Because of the violence in this game, that line is one. It's like, we nurture ours, you guys don't.
I nurture mine. I built a spa at my base so they could relax when they weren't working.
But you did come in and force them to work for you.
And Pokemon, they live in a ball.
Now, yeah, they
We don't
do
know
live
what's
in a.
going on in there.
I mean,
They're just all
the
cramped up.
last Pikachu
Even
movie,
Pikachu
you know,
doesn't
he was
even want to be in there. He was
He was a
refused since day
detective.
one. He's refused since day one to be in that Pokeball.
That's true. He doesn't like the Pokeball. Charizard likes it.
So
Anyway.
at least I go back to my base. I let these guys out. And they have a spa. They even have a bar. I built them a bar.
Okay. I mean, I'm not saying you're not taking care, but when we talk about the so let's open up the claim of this copyright infringement. I'm looking at these pictures that are up here. If you haven't seen it, go to YouTube. You can see what we have up, or go to IGN. These are the same comparisons that IGN put up. You can see it on the IGN website as well.
Yeah.
The models are similar. Like Pikachu is this rat-looking thing. The thing that they have is a rat-looking thing.
It's an electric mouse.
It's an electric mouse.
Like you make an electric mouse, they're gonna look similar.
Yeah. So,
but my favorite one, Dustin Liguri pointed this out. So did Alana Pierce. The when some people are like, look how similar the sheep is. Listen. Okay, there are some animals that you can only draw a certain amount of ways.
Well, so
And
let's get
elephant are not
let's
good
get into intellectual property though. Like intellectual property states that it has to be, if you change something more than 25%, you are no longer infringing on somebody's copyright. When I look at these ones that I have, they are definitely 25% different.
Correct. Yeah.
Like, I am not saying anything. Now,
you have to combine two Pokemon to see what they did.
You also now have to go in and look at the assets of the game. So now you can farm assets out of any game that you want. You can go find them. You can pull the assets out and render them and reuse assets from games. Like it has been done. Like people have gone to court and lost courts in court battles for using other games' assets. Um, so one of the things they're talking about is the mesh overlays. Some of they said over 100 of them have mesh overlays that could be within the 25%
Wait,
rule to
there's
where
over 100 of these in the game? I did not know that.
I guess they're looking at all the things that are in there. They're pulling everything, but that's what I read. It was like 100 of the mesh overlays. Um, the 3D modeling overlays. So maybe the artwork is not the same, but the asset underlying for movement and the things that they do for the mesh overlay could possibly not be 25% different. Now, this is what I'm going to go back to what you just said. When you create an overlay for a sheep, it's got 4 legs and it's round and has a head. How different can you make that mesh?
You can't.
You can't.
You
So it's
just
like,
can't.
there's no way, there's no way that Nintendo is going to win this lawsuit or
Never.
even
It'll
good.
set a dangerous precedent.
And it will be a super dangerous precedent. And I think the only reason they responded was because of the uproar of the community. And they already knew they weren't taking it to court.
Yeah.
They have already looked at it. Again, people, if you're listening, I'm sorry that I'm not on your side for the Pokemon world. I love the Pokemon. I want to cherish the Pokemons. I can
Nurture
have
them.
2 games. I will nurture them. I'll be part of it. I will play the game with my son and let him watch all the cartoons and grow up on the fun fantasy world that I got to grow up on. That was great. But you can have 2 games that have small, lovable plush
I mean,
characters that
Digimon
you want to play.
is not.
Digimon,
I mean, at least they didn't call it Palmon.
Digimon, then you had Tamagotchis. You've had all of these things.
Here's the bottom line for me,
Just
Ender.
get over it.
Here's the bottom line. If Pokemon Company is in my opinion, an amazing position because once again, they're the center of attention without even doing anything to be the center of attention. And the bottom line, 8 million of these copies have not been sold because there's Pokemon in it. 8 million copies are being sold because they made a great game. The gameplay is king. What does that tell the Pokemon Company? Make a good game.
They need to make a good game, and they
Make
haven't.
a good game.
The games have not
It's
been
not that
good.
hard. If they made a good
And if
game,
you're gonna make a game, don't make a game that makes
this-
kids walk out in the street and get hit by cars.
yeah. But that wow, listen, that game was awesome. But they have a great in my opinion, you could flip this into the positive. This is out there. Whatever. If you were able to put out a great game in the next year off the heels of this,
Oh, you'd
man,
have everybody come back. You'd have them come back.
oh, you crush it.
Yeah, you'd be there.
Because
And I will say the
have
only
the IP,
model
you have the better models.
the only model that I really look at is Lamb Ball. Like Lamb Ball is the one where I'm like, okay. But again, how do you make a lamb look different than a lamb?
It's just a lamb.
Yeah. I mean,
Like I'm sure you could look at 100 children's books with a lamb in it, and 90 of them would look similar, and 60 of them, if they were animated in this art style, would look just like.
So this moves me on to I'm gonna move on to the real problem that we have in this game.
Uh-oh.
And you know what? This is dear to my heart. PETA is coming after Palworld
From Hunger
the-
Games?
for the cruelty of animals.
The character in Hunger Games? That PETA?
No, not that PETA. The People for Ethical Treatment of Animals. PETA is coming after it because you can hurt your little pals and you can sacrifice them and eat them if you need to. That's another part of the game that I was like, that's a little different. I don't think Nintendo's going to be doing that.
I've had
But
to
I
do
can
it because
sacrifice it.
when one of my pals was slacking off, because it tells you that they're slacking off, I was like, well, your dinner.
So see, like again, PETA's coming after it. And you know what? I'm really proud of PETA because, they are going to make the vegan guide to playing Palworld. So if you don't want to eat your animals, You don't have to in Palworld. You don't have to be cruel. You can play Palworld the way you want to play
So you're
Palworld.
telling me instead of trying to be all drop on the iron hammer, they are having a little bit of fun with this?
I don't think they're having fun with this, James. I think they're absolutely concerned that you are teaching young children and older people. I think they think we are no longer vegans anymore, because I know you are, and I know I have been for so long, that once I played Pal World, I decided, you know what? I think I'm gonna go have some lamb chops today.
So, but they
You
do
know, I
know that
feel like I want to
they
do
do
that.
know these are called pocket monsters, right?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. While PETA's statement focuses on eating pals, there are other potentially questionable activities in the game, such as capturing animals for breeding and labor. Okay, so it's not just the eating, it's that you're forcing them to breed and you're forcing them for labor.
They're monsters and they get horny.
We've never had an issue with any of the games that have enslaved humans or any of the other thing, but you do it to a pocket monster. PETA's coming after you, people.
Listen, I
Okay.
just want to know, does PETA come after Monster Hunter World or Monster Hunter
Dude,
games?
the stuff that I read about this is just, I saw
Because
the acronym PETA and I was like, I have got to see it. So
because
they
because
did
with if
create.
it's
I don't think many people know this, but they did create the vegan guide to Animal
oh,
Crossing
you're
New
not joking, they
Horizons.
really did.
No, they did. I'm not joking at all. In March of 2020, they did this for Animal Crossing. This isn't
No,
the
they didn't.
first time they've done it.
So you
So
don't think this is they're not having a little fun with it and trying to
this is
spread
not
the
fun. These people do not have fun, James.
so you think they're like
No,
encourage
no,
they
I
want you
don't
to play the
think.
game this way.
I don't think they are encouraging you. The only way to play this game is to follow their vegan guide. Can you imagine this, like, PETA as an organization is going to fund somebody to play this game, to write a guide on how to be a vegan in it.
You know who they hired? They hired people that play Fallout without trying to kill somebody. That's who's making this guide.
Hey, that's fine.
The
I mean,
passive
play the
run.
game the way you want to. I
Passive
am
run.
fine with that. But
I mean, God, wait till they turn it into Monster Hunter World and
and
you start wearing their skin as your armor. God, Lambda armor level
I'm not
2.
I and I'm not hating on the vegan. I think there's many benefits to being a vegan. Like, it's scientifically proven. There's a lot of benefits to that style. I just don't think anybody is playing this game and it's going to affect the way they decide to live
God,
their life in the real
I
world.
hope they put an achievement in there that if you play 50 hours vegan style, it unlocks
It would be amazing. It would be amazing. Like, they
the
have to be
PETA
paying attention to
achievement.
this. And you know what? I'm if the guide comes out, I will play the game. I'm going to tell you right now. When the guide comes out, I will play
You're
the
gonna
vegan
play
style
it
game.
under their guide.
Oh yeah, I'll play it under
So
their
what
guide.
happens if
Just
you accidentally hurt
you
one?
must murder yourself.
Then you have to start over?
You no, you must sacrifice your life right then and there. If you harm an animal, you harm yourself. That's the way. That's the way of the people. I am just kidding there. No one go harm themselves if any harm comes to
Yeah, man.
a there. Um so anyway, I think that's all that we have for the show today. Um if you want to find us, do a little house cleaning here at the end. To find us, you can find us on YouTube at AFK Chat. You can find us on TikTok at AFK Chat. You can find us on Instagram at AFK Chat Pod, and also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If you're interested, please watch this one and watch any other episodes that have come up. A lot of the content is still ready to go. We do make these weekly. If you have any content, we do have a Discord. You can join the Discord. It's the AFK Chat Discord. Come on, be a member. Join us in some fun gaming. Give us some topics that you'd like to listen to us talk about. And we'll also post some things there, maybe some early access to some of the content that you will see there. My name's Ender. Guy sitting over there, name is James. This has been AFK Chat, episode 3. Have a good night.